Hey there, you're looking kind of cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out all my other socials. Enjoy. The leather journal felt heavy in Sutton's shaking hands. Its old pages were full of secrets that had stayed hidden for a long time. Each page told about late nights in front of a mirror, quiet hours when everyone else was asleep and dreams could come out. Every entry ended the same way. The journal was put away and hidden under the floorboards so no one could find it. The waiting room smelled like cleaning supplies and old magazines. Bright lights buzzed above, making sharp shadows on the beige walls with posters about mental health. Other patients sat in different chairs. Some looked at their phones, some stared into space. No one knew why Sutton held the appointment card so tightly or why sweat ran down Sutton's face even though the room was cold. "Sutton Mitchell?" the nurse called. The walk down the hall felt very long. Each step was loud on the linoleum floor, like a clock ticking. Sutton passed many doors, rooms where other people had their own problems and secrets. Room 4B was ahead with Dr. Bellwether's name on a small sign. Inside, the office felt different from typical medical spaces. Warm lamplight replaced harsh overheads. Bookshelves lined one wall, filled with psychology texts and small succulents in ceramic pots. Dr. Bellwether sat behind a mahogany desk, her silver hair pulled back in a neat bun, reading glasses perched on her nose as she reviewed notes. "Please, have a seat." She gestured to the leather chair across from her desk. "I see you've been dealing with anxiety symptoms. Tell me what's been happening." Words stuck in a throat suddenly dry. The prepared speech about work stress, about sleepless nights, about the general pressures of modern life dissolved. Dr. Bellwether waited, patient as stone, her pen resting against a notepad. "I can't sleep anymore." The admission came out strangled. "Can't eat. My hands shake all the time. I feel like I'm drowning." "When did these symptoms begin?" 6 months ago, maybe longer. It's getting worse." "Has anything changed in your life? New stressors, relationship issues?" The journal burned in the messenger bag beside the chair. How many times had those pages been filled with the same desperate words? How many nights spent writing about the person trapped inside, screaming to get out? "I need to tell you something." The words tumbled out before courage could fail, but I don't know how. Dr. Bellwether set down her pen, leaning forward slightly. Her expression remained neutral, professional, but something in her eyes softened. "Take your time. This is a safe space. I dress as a woman." The confession hung in the air like smoke. At home, alone, I have for years. Silence stretched between them, but not the condemning kind feared in countless nightmares. Dr. Bellwether nodded slowly, picking up her pen again. "How long have you been cross-dressing?" "Since college, maybe earlier. I used to borrow my sister's clothes when she wasn't home. Now I have my own things, hidden in the back of my closet." "And how do you feel when you dress?" "Like I can breathe." Tears threatened but didn't fall. Like the weight on my chest disappears. But then I have to take everything off and go back to being this, and it's killing me. "Have you considered that your anxiety might be connected to suppressing this part of yourself?" The question hit like lightning. All those therapy websites, all those self-help books, and never once had that connection been made. The anxiety, the depression, the constant feeling of wrongness, what if it all stemmed from the same source? I've never thought about it that way. "Sutton, I want to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with yourself, not just with me." Dr. Bellwether removed her glasses, meeting watery eyes directly. "When you dress, is it about the clothes themselves, or is it about who you become when you wear them?" The room spun. Years of rationalization crumbled in an instant. It had never been about fabric or fashion. It had been about the reflection in the mirror, about the person who appeared when masculine facades fell away. "It's about who I become." The admission barely made it past trembling lips. "When I'm dressed, I'm not pretending anymore. I'm her." "Does she have a name?" "Eliana." The name tasted like freedom. "I've always loved that name." Dr. Bellwether made notes, her expression thoughtful. Several minutes passed in contemplative silence before she spoke again. "Sutton, what I'm about to suggest might sound unexpected, but I want you to hear me out completely." She set down her pen, folding her hands on the desk. Based on what you're telling me, I believe your anxiety is a symptom, not the disease. You're living a fractured life, suppressing what might be your authentic self. Medication can help with anxiety, but it won't address the root cause. What are you saying? I'm saying that Eliana might not be a costume you put on. She might be who you really are. Dr. Bellwether pulled out a prescription pad. There are options available, hormone therapy specifically. It's not a cure for anxiety, Sutton, but it might be a cure for you. The world tilted. Hormone therapy, transition, words that had lived only in secret Google searches at 3 a.m., quickly erased from browser history. Now they hung in the air of a real doctor's office, spoken by a real medical professional. You think I'm transgender? I think you've been telling yourself a story about cross-dressing because it felt safer than admitting the truth. Only you can decide who you are, but from what you've shared, it sounds like you already know. The question is whether you're ready to stop hiding. The prescription paper slid across the desk. Estrogen, spironolactone, medications that could reshape everything, that could finally align body with soul. Hands shook, reaching for it. This is real? You can just prescribe this? I'm an endocrinologist as well as a psychiatrist. It's why many patients in your situation get referred to me. Dr. Bellwether's voice gentled. This isn't a decision to make lightly. Take time to think about it. But Sutton, living authentically isn't just about happiness. Sometimes it's about survival. The walk home passed in a blur. The prescription burned in the jacket pocket, its presence both terrifying and exhilarating. Back in the apartment, drawn by invisible strings, feet carried toward the bedroom closet. Behind winter coats and old boxes, the secret wardrobe waited. The red cocktail dress came out first. Crimson fabric that hugged in all the right places, purchased online during a moment of desperate bravery. Next came the navy blue blouse, silk against skin, paired with dark jeans that had taken 3 orders to get the right fit. Piece by piece, Eliana emerged. The mirror reflected truth. Auburn hair, natural color, but desperately needing to grow longer, framed a face that suddenly made sense, without makeup, without padding, without any of the tricks learned from YouTube tutorials. She stood there. Eliana, not a character or a fantasy, but the person who'd been screaming to exist for decades. The prescription found its way into trembling hands. Such small pills to carry such massive change. The pharmacy had filled it without question, the pharmacist's expression professionally neutral. Now they sat on the bathroom counter like keys to a locked door. The first dose went down with water and hope. Days turned to weeks. Changes came slowly at first. Skin softening, emotions deepening, the constant buzz of wrongness beginning to fade. Dr. Bellwether monitored progress through bi-weekly appointments, adjusting dosages, checking levels, but more importantly, providing a space where Eliana could exist without judgment. How are you feeling? The question opened each session. Like I'm waking up from a long sleep. Eliana sat in the same leather chair, but everything had changed. The messenger bag held makeup now, carefully chosen to enhance features becoming more feminine each day. My anxiety is almost gone. I still have moments, but they're different now, like growing pains instead of dying pains. And how is work? Have you told anyone? Not yet. The navy blouse, a new favorite, paired today with a black pencil skirt that felt like armor. I'm still presenting as male there. It's getting harder, though. Yesterday, someone commented that I looked different. Happier, they said. You do look happier. How long do you think you can maintain 2 separate lives? The question haunted the drive home. The apartment had transformed into Eliana's space. Dresses hanging openly in the closet, makeup organized on the vanity, the hidden journal now filled with joy instead of desperation. But outside these walls, Sutton still existed, a ghost haunting an old life. The breaking point came on a Thursday. The morning routine had become torture, binding down small but growing breasts, choosing the baggiest shirt possible, practicing a deeper voice in the mirror. The reflection looked wrong, felt wrong, was wrong. Eliana stared back with pleading eyes. The phone found its way into shaking hands. The HR director answered on the second ring. Martina, it's Sutton from accounting. I need to schedule a meeting with you. It's important. The next morning, Eliana dressed carefully. The burgundy dress, professional but undeniably feminine, fit perfectly. Nude heels added necessary height. Makeup applied with practiced hands emphasized eyes that finally held hope instead of despair. The auburn hair, now reaching past shoulders thanks to extensions that matched the natural color perfectly, framed a face that belonged. Martina's office smelled like coffee and vanilla candles. She looked up from her computer, recognition flickering across features before settling into curiosity. Sutton? Is that you? Actually, that's what I wanted to talk about. Eliana sat carefully, smoothing the dress over knees that wanted to shake. My name is Eliana now. I'm transgender. I've been transitioning for the past 6 months, and I can't keep hiding who I am. The words hung between them. Martina blinked once, twice, then reached for her notepad. Okay, first, thank you for trusting me with this. Second, let's talk about what you need from the company to make this transition as smooth as possible. Relief flooded through every cell. The conversation continued. New email addresses, bathroom policies, informing the team. But the hard part was over. The secret was out. Eliana existed in the real world now. The team meeting came the following Monday. Eliana chose the coral blouse, professional but soft, paired with charcoal gray slacks. Standing before colleagues who'd known Sutton for 3 years, voice steady despite internal earthquakes, the truth spilled out. I know this might be surprising, but I hope you'll give me the chance to show you that I'm still the same person who's been balancing your spreadsheets and fixing your formulas. I'm just finally being honest about who that person is. Silence. Then David from IT raised his hand. So, do you still know how to fix the printer when it jams? Laughter broke the tension. Questions followed, respectful ones about pronouns and names, curious ones about the process, supportive comments about bravery. Not everyone understood, readable in certain expressions, but professionalism won out. Weeks became months. The body continued its slow transformation, hips softening, face rounding, the person in the mirror becoming more recognizable each day. Eliana built a new wardrobe, each piece chosen to reflect the woman emerging. The red cocktail dress still hung in the closet, a reminder of secret nights, but now it shared space with sundresses and blouses and jeans that fit a changing figure. Dr. Bellwether tracked the journey through regular appointments. Your levels look good? How's your mood? I forgot what it felt like to not be anxious all the time. Eliana crossed legs smoothly, the gesture natural now. Sometimes I wake up and just lie there, amazed that the weight is gone, that I can just exist. Any regrets? Only that I waited so long. The first-year anniversary of starting hormones called for celebration. Eliana chose the restaurant carefully, somewhere nice enough to mark the occasion, but casual enough to feel comfortable. The emerald green dress, a recent purchase, caught light beautifully. Auburn hair, now naturally grown to shoulder length, styled in soft waves. The hostess smiled brightly. Table for one? Actually, I'm meeting someone. Caroline arrived minutes later, her photographer's eye immediately catching the light. They'd met at a bookstore, bonding over shared interests in mystery novels and terrible coffee. She knew Eliana's history, had seen old photos, had held her through the harder days of transition. You look beautiful. Caroline slid into the opposite booth, her genuine smile warming the space between them. I feel beautiful. The words came easily now, weighted with truth instead of hope. Dinner stretched through multiple courses and conversations. Caroline talked about her latest gallery showing. Eliana shared stories from work where she'd become the go-to person for training new employees. Normal conversation between two women sharing a meal, remarkable only in how unremarkable it felt. I have something for you. Caroline pulled out a wrapped box. Happy 1 year of being yourself. Inside, a silver necklace caught the light. A small phoenix pendant hung from the delicate chain, its wings spread in eternal flight. Because you rose from your own ashes. Caroline helped clasp it around Eliana's neck. and became who you were always meant to be. Tears came then, happy ones that no longer felt like weakness. The phoenix rested against skin soft from hormones, above a heart that beat steady and sure. Around them, the restaurant continued its evening rhythm, servers weaving between tables, couples sharing appetizers, friends toasting to small victories. Just another Friday night, except for the woman in the emerald dress who'd finally found her way home. The second year brought new challenges. Legal name changes required countless forms and patient explanations. The DMV photo captured Eliana smiling genuinely, auburn hair framing a face that matched the F now printed on official documentation. Each updated document felt like shedding old skin. Work evolved too. The initial awkwardness faded as colleagues adjusted. Eliana earned a promotion, moving from back-office accounting to client relations. The role required confidence that would have been impossible before. Now she met with clients wearing carefully chosen outfits. The navy suit that projected authority, the plum blouse that softened harder conversations, always professional but authentically herself. "You've really blossomed," Martina commented during a performance review. "Your client satisfaction scores are through the roof." It's easier to connect with people when you're not hiding behind a mask. Caroline moved in after 18 months of dating. The apartment transformed again, photography equipment mingling with makeup supplies, her artistic eye helping choose new decorations that reflected their shared life. They painted the bedroom walls a soft lavender, hung fairy lights around windows, created a space where love could grow without secrets. On difficult days when dysphoria crept in or strangers stared too long, Caroline provided steady support. She'd run fingers through auburn hair, whisper reminders of how far Eliana had come, hold her until the storm passed. "Do you ever miss the time before?" Caroline asked one evening, curled together on the couch watching old movies. "I can barely remember it." Eliana traced patterns on Caroline's arm. "It's like trying to recall a dream after waking. I know it happened, but it feels like someone else's life." The third year marked milestones. Electrolysis finally eliminated facial hair that had caused such distress. Surgery consultations began, discussing options and possibilities with doctors who specialized in helping bodies match souls. Each step forward felt like claiming more space in the world. Dr. Bellwether announced her retirement during a routine appointment. "I wanted to tell you personally, you've been one of my most rewarding patients." "You saved my life." Eliana gripped the doctor's hands. "I walked in here dying inside, and you saw who I really was." "You saw who you really were. I just gave you permission to stop hiding." Dr. Bellwether smiled. "My colleague, Dr. Harrison, will be taking over your care. She's excellent, and I've fully briefed her on your history." The transition between doctors went smoothly. Dr. Harrison proved just as supportive, adjusting hormone dosages as Eliana's body settled into its new configuration. The anxiety that once consumed every waking moment had become a distant memory, replaced by occasional normal worries that everyone faced. Work flourished. Eliana built a reputation as someone who could handle difficult clients with grace. Her personal experience with transformation, though never explicitly shared, gave her empathy for people going through their own changes. She listened differently, heard the subtext in conversations, recognized when someone needed validation more than solutions. The wedding came in year 4. Caroline proposed on a beach at sunset, the ring catching light like the phoenix necklace still worn daily. They married in a small ceremony, surrounded by chosen family who'd supported their journey. Eliana wore an ivory dress that moved like water, auburn hair crowned with small flowers, feeling beautiful in ways that transcended appearance. Caroline's vows brought tears. "You taught me that love isn't about finding someone perfect. It's about finding someone brave enough to become themselves and being privileged to witness that becoming." They honeymooned in Italy, wandering through museums and markets, Eliana experiencing the world as herself for the first time. Each photo captured genuine joy, standing before ancient fountains, sharing gelato on cobblestone streets, existing fully in spaces that once felt impossible to access. Back home, life settled into new rhythms. They bought a house with a garden, planted roses and tomatoes, built something lasting. Eliana's career evolved again, moving into diversity consulting, helping companies create inclusive spaces. The irony wasn't lost, using hard-won experience to smooth paths for others. "Why this work?" a colleague asked during a team lunch. "Because everyone deserves to feel safe being themselves." Eliana sipped her iced tea, the answer simple but profound. And sometimes that starts with one person saying it's okay to be who you are. Year 5 brought unexpected challenges. Caroline's mother fell ill, requiring long trips to help with care. Eliana juggled work and support, learning new depths of partnership. They weathered the storm together, grief and love intertwined, emerging stronger. During one visit, Caroline's mother gripped Eliana's hand weakly. "Thank you for making my daughter so happy. She glows when you're around." "She makes me glow too," the older woman smiled. "I see that. You both found your person." After the funeral, they sat in Caroline's childhood bedroom, surrounded by old photos and memories. Caroline traced the phoenix necklace, a habit she'd developed over years. "Mom told me once that she knew I'd found the right person when I stopped trying to change you and started celebrating who you were becoming." She was a wise woman. She was. And she loved you, really loved you, not just accepted you. The distinction mattered. Acceptance implied tolerance, but love meant celebration. Eliana had learned the difference through transition, discovered who offered each, built a life surrounded by the latter. Work continued evolving. Speaking engagements came more frequently, sharing stories of transformation in corporate settings. Eliana never disclosed personal details, keeping Sutton's ghost private, but spoke passionately about creating environments where people could thrive authentically. After one particularly moving presentation, an attendee approached hesitantly. Young, early 20s, wearing an ill-fitting suit that screamed discomfort. "Can I ask you something privately?" They found a quiet corner. The story spilled out: confusion, fear, secret clothes hidden in apartment closets, anxiety crushing every breath. Familiar territory, painfully so. "I don't know what to do." Tears threatened the young person's composure. "I'm scared of losing everything." "What's your name, your real name?" "Rebecca. When I'm alone, I'm Rebecca." "Nice to meet you, Rebecca." Eliana offered tissues from her purse. "Can I tell you something?" "It's scary. Terrifying, actually. But living as yourself, whatever that means for you, is worth every difficult moment. Because the alternative, staying hidden, that's not living. That's just existing." They talked for an hour. Eliana provided resources, therapist recommendations, reassurance that questioning was okay. Rebecca left looking lighter, clutching a business card and hope. Caroline laughed when Eliana recounted the story that evening. "You're becoming the person you needed when you were younger." "Is that cheesy?" "Completely. Also beautiful." They cooked dinner together, music playing, dancing between cutting vegetables and stirring sauces. Normal domestic life, remarkable for its unremarkability. The auburn hair Eliana had grown herself now reached mid-back, usually pulled up in a messy bun during cooking to avoid tomato sauce disasters. Year 6 brought sabbatical. They traveled extensively: Japan's cherry blossoms, Iceland's northern lights, Peru's ancient mountains. Each destination offered new perspectives, chances to exist in spaces without history or expectation. Eliana sent postcards to Dr. Bellwether, now retired to coastal Maine, sharing glimpses of a life made possible by one honest conversation. Returning home felt like completing a circle. The house welcomed them back, garden overgrown but thriving. They spent weeks rebuilding routines, processing adventures, planning futures that stretched beyond old limitations. "I want to write a book." The declaration came during morning coffee, sunrise painting the kitchen golden. "About what?" Caroline looked up from her camera, editing photos from their travels. "About becoming, not necessarily about being trans, though that's part of it. About the journey everyone takes to find themselves, whatever that looks like." "I think that's perfect." The writing consumed evenings and weekends, Words flowed like water finally undammed, stories of transformation, both personal and universal. Caroline offered feedback, helped shape narratives, provided steady encouragement when doubt crept in. The manuscript grew alongside their life. Friends gathered for dinner parties where Eliana cooked elaborate meals in her favorite apron, bright yellow with sunflowers, while Caroline entertained with photography stories. They hosted game nights, book clubs, building community in spaces that felt safe and warm. One evening, while proofreading chapters, Caroline paused. "Do you remember the person you were before?" "Sometimes. Like looking through frosted glass. I see the shape, but not the details." "Do you think he'd recognize you now?" Eliana considered carefully. The person who'd sat in Dr. Bellwether's office clutching that journal felt like ancient history. That terrified soul hiding behind masculine facades, drowning in anxiety, couldn't have imagined this life. Career success, loving marriage, simple joy in existing. I think he'd be amazed, and probably jealous. Of what specifically? Of everything, but mostly of the peace. He was always at war with himself. I'm not anymore. The book found a publisher after dozens of rejections. Not a major house, but someone who believed in the message. Launch day arrived with a mix of excitement and terror. The burgundy dress, different from the old one but similar in spirit, felt appropriate for readings. The bookstore filled with familiar faces. Caroline sat front row, camera ready. Former colleagues, new friends, even Rebecca, now living openly and radiantly herself, gathered to celebrate. Eliana read excerpts about transformation, voice steady despite emotional passages. "Change isn't betrayal of who you were," she read. "It's honoring who you're becoming. Every person deserves space to grow into their truth, whatever shape that takes." Applause filled the room. Books sold steadily, signed with messages of hope. Several attendees whispered private stories, sharing their own journeys of becoming. The evening stretched late, conversations flowing like wine. Caroline drove home, Eliana too emotionally drained to navigate. City lights blurred past windows, the phoenix necklace catching streetlight reflections. "How do you feel?" "Like I finally told the whole truth? Even the parts about before?" "Especially those parts. They're part of the story, even if they feel like someone else's chapters now." Year 7 brought unexpected recognition. The book gained traction in diversity circles, leading to more speaking engagements and consulting opportunities. Eliana built a practice around authentic leadership, teaching organizations how to create spaces where people could shed masks safely. The work felt like purpose crystallized. Each workshop, each conversation, each small breakthrough in corporate culture vindicated the difficult journey. Not everyone understood. Some pushed back against inclusive policies, questioned the need for change, but progress crept forward. During a particularly challenging session with resistant executives, Eliana drew on deep wells of patience. The coral blouse, chosen for its approachable energy, helped soften hard edges. "I'm not asking you to understand everyone's journey," she explained. "I'm asking you to create space for those journeys to happen, because your employees are already on them, whether you see it or not. The question is whether they feel safe enough to bring their whole selves to work." One executive, silent throughout the presentation, approached afterward. "My daughter just told us she's gay. I don't understand it, but I want to. Will this help?" Creating inclusive spaces helps everyone. Your daughter will feel safer, and you'll learn to see her more fully. That's what this is really about, seeing people clearly. He left with resources and a shifted perspective. Small victories accumulated like snowflakes, eventually creating avalanches of change. Home provided sanctuary from challenging work. Caroline's photography gained recognition too, a series on transformation featuring portraits of people becoming themselves. Not all subjects were trans. Some showed career changes, relationship evolutions, personal growth of all kinds, but each captured moments of emerging truth. "You inspired this series," Caroline admitted, adjusting lighting for another shoot. "Watching you become yourself taught me to see becoming in others." They collaborated on projects combining words and images. Gallery shows featuring Eliana's essays alongside Caroline's photographs drew crowds seeking stories of hope. The work felt important, necessary, worth the vulnerability of sharing personal truths. Year 8 brought full circles. Dr. Bellwether visited during a book tour through Maine, attending a reading in Portland. Seeing her in the audience, silver hair now fully white but eyes still sharp with wisdom, brought tears Eliana didn't try to hide. "Look at you," Dr. Bellwether said afterward, embracing warmly. "Living proof that authenticity heals." "You gave me permission to try." "No, dear. You gave yourself permission. I just held space while you found courage." They had dinner at a seafood restaurant overlooking the harbor. Conversation flowed between past and present, the doctor sharing her own journey to retirement, Eliana filling gaps in the story since their last appointment. "Any regrets about the path?" "Only that fear kept me hidden so long. But maybe that was necessary too. Maybe I needed those years of preparation to appreciate this freedom." "Wisdom earned through experience." Dr. Bellwether raised her wine glass. "To becoming ourselves at whatever pace feels right." The toast echoed through years of transformation. From that terrified person clutching a journal to this confident woman raising her glass, the journey stretched like a bridge between worlds. Not an easy crossing, but a necessary one. Caroline captured the moment on camera. Two women toasting over candlelight, one who'd shown the path and one who'd walked it. Later, the photo would hang in their home office, a reminder of guides who appear when most needed. The drive home from Maine took 2 days, stopped at bed and breakfasts along the coast. Eliana watched the ocean through passenger windows, marveling at how different the world looked through authentic eyes. Same water, same sky, but perceived by someone finally present in her own life. "Penny for your thoughts?" Caroline navigated winding coastal roads with practiced ease. "Just thinking about time, how it feels both endless and instant, like I've been myself forever and also just beginning. Both can be true. That's what I love about being with you. You hold space for paradox." They stopped at a lighthouse, climbing stairs to panoramic views. Wind whipped auburn hair across Eliana's face, the yellow sundress chosen that morning billowing like sails. Caroline snapped photos, capturing joy in motion. "You know what I realize?" Eliana shouted over wind. "I'm not trying anymore. I'm just being." "What's the difference?" "Everything. Trying implies effort against resistance. Being just is." Year 9 brought evolution in unexpected directions. The consulting practice expanded, requiring hired help. Building a team meant trusting others with vision, delegating while maintaining standards. Eliana chose carefully, selecting people who understood inclusion viscerally, not just intellectually. The first hire was Marcus, a Black trans man whose corporate experience complemented Eliana's journey perfectly. They bonded over shared understanding of navigation between worlds, of code switching and safety calculations performed daily. "Why this work?" Eliana asked during his interview. "Because I got tired of being the only one in rooms. If I can make space for others like us, maybe someday we won't be so alone." Together, they built something larger than individual practice. The firm grew organically, adding voices and perspectives, becoming a force for systematic change rather than just personal transformation. Caroline documented the growth through her lens. A photo series on the team became its own exhibition, portraits of professionals changing corporate culture, one conversation at a time. The opening drew unexpected crowds, mixing art patrons with diversity advocates with curious observers. "Your wife's work moves people," Marcus commented, watching attendees linger before certain portraits. "She sees truth and reflects it back. It's her superpower." "You both have that gift. Different mediums, same message." The observation stuck. That evening, processing the successful opening, Eliana considered how their talents intertwined. Words and images, both serving truth, both creating space for others to see themselves more clearly. "We make a good team," she told Caroline, who was uploading photos from the event. "The best team, though I might be biased." "Completely biased. Also correct." They fell asleep intertwined, Another day of building something meaningful complete. The phoenix necklace rested on the nightstand, catching moonlight through bedroom windows. Its symbolism had evolved, no longer about rising from ashes, but about sustained flight. Year 10 arrived with reflection. A decade since that first appointment with Dr. Bellwether, since choosing truth over comfortable lies. The anniversary called for marking, though how to honor such transformation felt unclear. "We could throw a party," Caroline suggested over breakfast. "Too public. This feels private somehow." "A trip? Somewhere meaningful?" "Maybe. Or maybe just acknowledgement. Quiet recognition of distance traveled." They settled on simple ritual. That evening, Eliana pulled out the old journal, rescued from hiding spots, preserved as reminder rather than secret. Its pages documented pain that felt foreign now, written by someone simultaneously familiar and strange. "Do you want me to leave while you read?" Caroline offered gentle space. "No, stay. You're part of this story too." They read together, passages sometimes prompting laughter, others tears. The desperate words of someone drowning in wrong skin felt like archaeological discovery, evidence of civilizations fallen, rebuilt, transformed entirely. "I wish I could tell him it gets better," Eliana whispered. "You are telling him. Every day you live authentically honors his struggle." The journal returned to its shelf, no longer hidden, but displayed among other books. History acknowledged, but not dwelt upon. Part of the story, but not its definition. The consulting firm thrived. Corporate culture shifted slowly, but perceptibly, each workshop planting seeds of inclusion. Not every seed grew. Some organizations resisted change, clinging to familiar discrimination, but enough flourished to create gardens. Rebecca joined the team in year 11, her own journey complete enough to guide others. She brought fresh perspective and younger energy, connecting with emerging professionals navigating identity in evolving workplaces. "I still remember our first conversation," she told Eliana during onboarding. "You saved my life that day. You saved your own life. I just reminded you it was worth saving." The work felt like ripples in a pond. Each person helped creating their own circles of influence. Former clients reached out with updates. Promotions earned while living authentically. Relationships deepened through honesty. Anxiety replaced with purpose. Caroline's photography evolved too. A major gallery offered solo exhibition, 3 rooms dedicated to transformation stories. The centerpiece was a portrait of Eliana taken years into transition. Not the beginning, not the end, but the ongoing middle where most life happened. "Why this photo?" a critic asked during the preview. "Because it captures becoming as continuous rather than complete. We never stop transforming, we just get more comfortable with change." The review praised both technical skill and emotional depth. Sales exceeded expectations, but more importantly, viewers connected. The gallery guestbook filled with personal stories, people seeing themselves in images of others becoming. Home life deepened with years. Garden vegetables fed dinner parties where chosen family gathered. The guest room hosted people early in their journeys, needing temporary shelter while building new lives. Always full circle, always paying forward kindness received. One such guest, Jordan, stayed 3 months while navigating family rejection and job searching. She arrived hollow-eyed, clutching a single suitcase, wearing the only dress she'd managed to grab while fleeing. "I don't know what to do," she admitted that first night. "Right now, just breathe. Everything else can wait until tomorrow." They provided stability while Jordan rebuilt. Resume help from Eliana, portrait sessions with Caroline, building confidence, home-cooked meals restoring strength. When Jordan finally found both job and apartment, tears flowed freely. "I'll never forget this kindness." Then pass it on when you can. That's how we build better worlds. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.